So my finals are over for the semester, and it's time for me to ramp back up into thinking about the MCAT, prepping students to take the MCAT. I haven't taken the MCAT in like 5, 6 years. We gonna see how this goes. I know part of my capacity to be an effective and helpful tutor for my students is I am aware of not just the content of the MCAT, but like the actual structure of the MCAT and how to prepare your body to take the structure of the MCAT. I'm about to do a whole lot of things taking this MCAT that I tell my students not to do. Haven't eaten breakfast, didn't do any kind of warm-ups this morning, haven't reviewed biochem or physics or chemistry or biology or card. None of these are things that I encourage my students to do when they take the actual MCAT. However, because this is my first practice test, I'm going to take it raw, bare bones. We just going to go because I think a lot of students have that fear of how bad could it be? How bad could I be? And how much work could be required of me to get to the other side. And so they put off even taking that first practice test because they don't want to see the real results of where they're at and how much work they have to do. So let's see where I'm at. Okay, so I'm going to start with section 1, which is Chem Phys. And when I tell my students to do the Chem Phys section or to prepare for the Chem Phys section, I tell them to think about getting themselves in the right mind before they even start. And the things that I'm thinking to myself are actually ridiculous. Like, I'm like, well, Rebecca, this is going to go horribly. Well, maybe at the end of this, you should just revisit if you should be teaching the MCAT at all, because now you're about to prove that you don't actually have what it takes to get a 528 on the MCAT. Not that it like actually mattered to get a 528, but like accepting and owning that I might not be perfect is kind of stressful. So I will be trying to prepare myself, trying to think about those things that I already know. I tell my students to like not get phased, not get overwhelmed, especially because this is the beginning of a very long exam. But I'm already about to start self-doubting. And this is like I took the MCAT and I did well on the MCAT, on the real MCAT, and I've already done this preparation. So the fact that I'm circling back here is like, woof, woo baddie. Because like, yo, this stuff is hard. Let's get started. And time's already running out and I'm 11 seconds in. Haven't even looked at a question. Okay. I didn't even give myself scratch paper to get started. We're off to a great start, guys. Off to a great start. Greater than the solubility potential. The concentration is less. Okay, so it's not going to, oh wait, no, it's not going to be greater. Now, is it the concentration of them combined? Oh, okay. So equilibrium is going to shift if it's solutes. Which direction is equilibrium? The individual concentrations. I don't even know what that fucking means, so we won't go on. Okay, so I've got about 25 minutes left in this section. I've answered all 59 questions. There were 2 passages that I was like, I don't really know what's going on, don't really feel like figuring it out. And I think it's a better use of my time to just end the section early. Or honestly, I'm going to just let it run and take a little bit longer of a break. So I've got about a 30-minute break. Okay, so the next section I've got is cars, and I would like to be less overwhelmingly stressed out. So I've got paper this time. I know my strategy. We'll see how it goes, but I at least have an idea of the strategy that I'm trying to use. Definitely getting tired already, and I'm not even halfway through. And I still have biochem, which is going to be exhausting. But I'm not thinking that far. I'm going to stick with the section that I have, which is cars. which is going to allow me to rest my mind from science for a second and just really rely on my strategy. Okay, so I've got 90 minutes to 53 questions. Okay, so let's start the core section. Off top, I'm trying to decide which passages I'm going to do and not going to do. Okay, so passage one feels good. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do what I can of it. And then move on. So what I can acknowledge is that got about 16 questions left. I'm halfway through with time, so I'm speeding up. A lot of this is because I'm losing my desire to care about this, and I'm getting hungry and I want to eat. So I need to push through, but I'm fully acknowledging that as a practice test, this is just for me to have lessons learned of like what I don't need to do, and not even necessarily being about content, but about like the other aspects of taking this exam. Let's do 16 questions, maybe 25. We'll see how I feel. I'm so hungry. Yeah, I'm not doing shit about metaphors, which means I'm gonna have to go back and do one of the other passages. My goal is to do 7 out of the 9. Now I flagged 3. So I'm gonna have to go back and do one, but it ain't gonna be passage 7, I'll tell you that much. Okay, 2 more passages. Jesus. Immigration. Whatever. I gotta do something. Okay, I got this. Last pass. Well, second to last passage. I gotta circle back and do another one. Well, I should circle back. Okay. Nothing is unanswered. I don't want to do any more passages. I'm ready to take a break. So I still have 30 minutes in this section also, but I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm taking a break. So at this point, I'm halfway through and I feel like I get the picture. Some of me wants to just stop because I already know the next 2 sections are just going to be exhausting and draining. And I know where we're going. And I feel like I at least got the thing started. Another part of me is like, you said you were going to take a practice test and you're about to quit halfway through. What would you say to your student who quits halfway through? I think it depends on the goal. Because my goal is just to expose myself to what this is like, I'm recognizing I'm still very familiar with the types of questions, still very familiar with the format, very out of shape. So this feels like me trying to push through on a marathon when I haven't actually trained, but I know how to run and have run a good marathon time before in the past. That's not where I am right now. And I have to give myself the capacity to not force myself to be somewhere I'm not be mad at myself for being somewhere that I'm not, but also be realistic about if this is somewhere that I want to be or not. So with that, I'm about to end this test. I don't feel like doing anything else. I'm very curious as to what the biochem questions are, but I don't think I need to do this experience to do that. So halfway through, I'm out. It was a good experiment though. Okay, so I finished the unscored sample test, and honestly, again, recognizing I didn't do 2 of the sections, for the amount of effort that I put in, this is actually kind of pleasantly surprising. And so then my hypotheses predominantly are, did I drop off at the end of the section because I knew I was tired, knew I was over it, specifically for the Chem Phys section, because cars, I was in and out. And so then in the car section, for the passages that I skipped. Was that a good use of my skip? Even though I recognize I still had 30 minutes of extra time, like, did I do well on the passages where I tried in comparison to the passages that I skipped? And from there, what should I determine about passages that I should skip or do? First up, seeing this first page, a whole bunch of green checks, one red, which means, cool, I at least got it together to start the exam, and I didn't let the like, oh God, I'm doing Chem Phys now mess me up. So keep on going. And also the question that I flagged, I only flagged one question here. And the question that I flagged, I guessed and got it right. So feel very great about that option. So then go into the last path. Yep. So now 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 9, almost half of the last 9 questions, I got it correct. And I know off top, it's not because these questions were harder. It's because I didn't care anymore. I wasn't trying anymore. Probably made little mistakes. Did this continue on the other pages? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. Cool, cool, cool. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 10. Yep. So we see a trend happening here. 1, 2, 3 out of 10. 2 out of 10. So it goes 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 4 out of 9. I got tired. That's all that was. Cool. Know that for myself, knew that for myself. What would be my strategy or my expectation of like trying to do better than that? Consistently doing Chem Phys every single day to get less tired. That's the only way that I'm going to get less tired doing 95 minutes is consistently doing it for 95 minutes. Let's go back to the car section and see what happened there. Hey, okay, so 35 of 53. My goal would have been around 40 to get like a 126, 127. So 35 when I know I just was like, bro, I'm out. It's actually great. Great for me. We're on to something. And there's also confidence in the strategy that I use when I use it is helpful because I skipped 3 passages and still got 35 questions correct. Pew, pew, pew. So now let's look at the questions. Is there another trend? Hey, 1 out of 10, 43 seconds. That's actually the shortest amount of time I took on these 10. So that makes me feel excellent. I didn't spend a lot of time on the question that I got incorrect. Cool, we're still at 1 out of 10, 31 seconds. So again, I'm not wasting time. I just move on to what I need to move on to. Cool. And these are all passages. I flagged the first question of the passages I didn't do. So I know those are the questions when things went bad. So passage 3 starts at question 20. So flagged question 20, guessed, cool, got that one right. But then the rest of these passages, the rest of these questions, 21 to 25, totally guessed on them. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, whatever. And got 2 out of 6 correct. Recognizing I didn't try on that one. Can't really say much about it, but it was 6 questions. So I am going to take that into account when thinking about the passages that I'm choosing to do and wanting to not skip passages that have more questions, trying to skip passages that have fewer questions, because then I'm just docked less. Passage 4, I believe, starts on 26. And so, okay, I chose to do this one. When I was choosing to do this one, I took notes-ish. This is like legit when things started going downhill. I didn't take nan notes on the questions that I was doing. So honestly, that was not a good use of my time. I wonder if it would have been better use of my time to go do the passage where I was like, I don't care about this. I don't know anything about this. Then try to do the one where I was somewhat invested because it was still horrible. So this one also had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. 6 questions, skipped it, still got the same amount of questions correct on the passage. Then 5 questions, didn't skip, took a lot of time, didn't do well. Wouldn't make that mistake again. So then moving on, Revolutionary War. Oh, I know I was on war. I was like, no, I'm not thinking about that stuff right now. So again, flagged passage. I got 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, I skipped another passage that had 6 questions and did a passage that had 5 questions, and the 5 questions still didn't do well. So again, would want to think about that and what I would be prioritizing if I was to do this again. Okay, yeah, again, this one was flagged. I looked for a minute and 10 seconds and was like, yeah, I'm not doing this one either. I was really cycling in my mind of like, You can't be skipping this many passages. You're about to skip this many passages. You can't skip this many passages. It's too late. You don't care. This is just a practice test. This is not about me denigrating myself. It's about recognizing where I need to make improvement. Definitely need to assess what I'm skipping and what I'm not skipping and why I'm doing that. This passage is, again, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So skipped 3 passages with 6 questions to answer 1 passage with 5 questions and get most of them wrong. I don't need to see that trend a whole lot more to know that's not something I'm going to keep doing. Continuing on, the new citizen, blah, 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 blah. That was a passage I was like, I'm going to double down. I can't skip anything more. So we're just going to try something and go with it. I didn't take any notes on this passage. So, and had no real structure of what I was doing, was really just answering the questions using the passage and got all of them correct. So that makes me feel, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 5-question passage that I did get everything correct and didn't take me as much time. Definitely would do that again. I would also then do a deeper comparison, analyzing which one is harder than the other to determine in which order I would do things. If I would start hard and go easy, or if I would start easy and go hard. My instinct, especially because I was realizing like I'm pissed because I'm hungry, would be that I start hard and end easy to not mess myself up. But that's something I would, again, test out the next time I do a practice test. And then these last 2 something about that, Rebecca, get it together, have this, finish it, whatever, got me out. And I did excellently on these last 1, 2, 3, 11 questions. Pew, 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 pew. Done. I feel like I know what things I would like to carry on and work on next time. It's not even about the content. I didn't look at the content at all to assess what I did right or wrong. It's really just about assessing my strategy. And now I have a better understanding of things that I did well as it relates to my strategy and things that I would want to change if I was going to do another practice test next time. Good luck on your MCAT journey.